back in April, I decided to do a building my viewers ideas video. Essentially, if I hit the goal for a certain amount of members on my YouTube channel, then I would build the ideas from those members. And we hit the goal, and I got ideas. And then one shot happened for the entire month of May. And then June, I was a little behind, and I still kind of am on my backlog of editing. So now I finally got it done. So we're gonna go through these builds I've done based on members who have contributed to the channel back in April and see my take on them. I hope you enjoy, and if you do, make sure you leave a like and subscribe and all that jazz. Now first up is a yin and yang castle suggested by Stormmaster26 on Discord. I wanted to keep things pretty simple and small so that I didn't spend days building and prolong this video any farther. So I went ahead and I took the yin and yang symbol, found a pixel art representation of it, and then copied it essentially for the right dimensions of the circle, and made the two towers that you see here actually the opposite colors that you would normally see as the dots in the yin and yang circle. Ultimately, I really like how this turned out. It's very simple but effective, and I really like the black and white, obviously, aspect of it for yin and yang. Super cute. The second one I got was from Nightmare Ink Crystal, a mod on this channel, and Inky said, build an enchanted night forest with massive crystals. Yes, inspired by their name being Nightmare Ink Crystal, of course. So I went ahead and I found this little grove not too far from where I built the yin and yang castle, and I went ahead and I put one giant crystal in the middle using amethyst blocks, and I wanted it to look like it had landed here as if from outer space or something, like an asteroid, and the crystals just kept growing out in a circle around it. So I went ahead and separated out and threw the amethyst clusters everywhere. We had some glowberries, some of which are flowering and you can actually see light, glow lichen as well, and of course spore blossoms, poppies for a little extra color of something else, and two tall flowers of lilacs. I like how it came out, honestly. It's definitely very purple though. Next up was a request from CLS, which was to make his face and mustache into pixel art in Minecraft. So here it is. Honestly, I had a lot of fun looking at it and trying to figure it out color-wise. It probably could have been a little more tan, but I couldn't tell if the photo that he used, which I'll throw up now, was because of the shaders / sunset or what. So I just stuck with the colors that I assumed would work the best. Next up, I got a recommendation from Spider Hearts, who's also playing on most servers with me. Love you, Spider Hearts. But she said, build something sewery that would belong in an underground tunnel / society, since there's a whole sewer build that she's been working on with plenty of people on Unearthed blocks lately. So I went ahead and decided to take things a bit more deserty feeling, because I wanted it to represent essentially the catacombs that you see in Paris. So looking at the photos for those catacombs, everything looks very sandstone-y / light colored stone, so I stuck with the sandstone design, threw in some glow lichen so nothing could spawn, and added quite a few skeleton and wither skeleton skulls around. And I made the entire thing 1 block wide because I wanted it to feel cramped, and I probably, if anything, would just make it so that the ceiling was lower or you had to crouch to get through some things. And then to end it off, I literally just had it dump into like a pool of water that I mined out a little bit. And I really like this one because I got to use the suspicious sand, which looks really good texture-wise with everything. And I also like because I took a simple cave, you know those long stringy spaghetti caves Minecraft comes with, and then I just literally threw the sand in to make everything a little more claustrophobic, and here we go. That's how we got this. Next up was from Director Amelia, saying the results of my D&D characters trying to live in the same house for a month. Now I'm assuming she meant the characters at the time, which were myself, Moira, Shinichi, Spider Hearts, Draco, Sunbear, and Salix, which is the lunatic. So I went back to my flat world instead of the world that we were just in, and decided to use this build here that I made a while ago for a tutorial, and I did the interior for it as well. So my thought process was, what if that group of D&D characters was living inside of this house for a month, like Amelia says. So I came in here, and I basically did a little bit of renovation for it. So you walk in, the main entryway is practically the same. You know, I could have done a little bit more here, but considering what I do to everything else, I figured I'd leave this the same. You walk into the kitchen. The kitchen has been taken over. Any plant life that was here before has been switched out for mushrooms because Swamp is, you know, a druid and obsessed with mushrooms. And then instead of having our L-shaped lovely large couch that was right in front of this TV, I figured Shinichi, our bard, would love to throw in a stage to practice their actual show for everyone at home, and I threw in this little microphone as well. I actually didn't get rid of the couch. I moved the couch and the coffee table to this back wall up against where this bathroom is, just so that it makes sense that the furniture is still here. Then in this back behind the dining table, there's another little potted plant section for more mushrooms and some iron blocks that I would assume Draco, our Warforged, would use for repairs and such. And then also in here is just a little office, which again, more iron in here. And I would assume that Moira, my character, who's very businessy, money, would probably use that all the time. And then upstairs, we have a laundromat on the left. And when you go down the hallway next to it, you get Salix and Draco's room, which I had it already set up as a bunk bed kids room type of thing. So I went ahead and made it a little more Salix and Draco-y. Salix himself, essentially think of Wally, you know, carrying a little plant. So also a Warforged, but doesn't know what a Warforged is, but obsessed with plants. So Salix, of course, has this lovely big potted plant here. And then Draco with all of his iron blocks for more tinkering, crafting tables, and smithing tables thrown about the room so he can tinker with his body however much he wants. Then down the hall, down to the main hall, we have Moira and Shinichi's room in the master bedroom because of course Shinichi would want it. But, you know, it's also Moira, so of course they both want it. So they decided to go halvesies on it anyways, and the bed is big enough to split it down the middle if they needed. Essentially there's another desk in here, which again I'm assuming Moira would use quite a bit. A changing area that Shinichi I'm sure would be in love with, and plenty of closet space for the both of them, and massive piles of diamonds and gold that would probably be Moira's personal stash. Across the hall is just a little bathroom that I kept the same, and then down the hall finally is Swamp's room. Swamp's room is practically the same, except for, again, any plants that were in here were switched out with mushrooms practically, some giant mushrooms as well that she potted down, and essentially just made it more cozy for her. The next recommendation on the list came from my old friend Sunbear, who recommended doing, first thought was to turn a dripstone cave into a cozy hotel, which I'm wondering if this has anything to do with the fact that on Orthoblock Season 2, he basically made a cozy dripstone hotel in the middle of this giant dripstone cave. Let me know if I was wrong about that, Sunbear. Anyways, I found this giant dripstone cave, and I wanted to keep it cave-like someone found the cave and they just moved in and retrofitted it to be like a cute little hotel thing, right? So I found this cave. I threw in obviously this dripstone blocks around to make it look more dripstone-y of an entrance, and this giant spruce entrance as well. When you come into it, there's no actual rooms or anything in it because I didn't want to go that far. I had already spent, this is probably the build I spent the most time on, I'm not gonna lie. So I didn't want to go that deep into it, but I wanted to make it like the basic of an actual cozy hotel. So you walk in and you see this lovely rest of the dripstone cave. There's a little bit of dripstone above you, so it's kind of dangerous, but not that bad. Just make sure you move if you hear anything crack. And I wanted to use this also as an excuse to use the new cherry and bamboo blocks. So essentially we have a cherry fence going along to make sure nobody walks off and down into the steep hole into nowhere, basically, that goes down into some deep dark. And then I went ahead and used bamboo and dark oak for the tables. We have this cute little area here where you can check in and get keys or whatever for your room that has this lectern on it, and then a small little barn that's been built into this cave, even though I actually built the wall that you see here, and when you look behind it, it's obviously just empty space. All in all, I'm happy with how the bamboo, the dark oak, and the cherry wood looks together. Honestly, it looks really good, especially with all of the little low lichen everywhere. And I loved keeping the exposed ore with my complementary shaders on because it makes everything ever so slightly more magical and definitely feels more like a cave. Then we have a recommendation from Bexilla, also on Unorthoblocks with me. She said, a giant crab that you live in. Upon taking residence, you have to play this song. So I went ahead and I built this giant crab here, as well as a bunch of tiny little crabs. I'm gonna go throw up a reference photo I found just by looking online for, you know, photos of crabs basically, and I basically made it like 3D pixel art as much as I could. Struggled with it a little bit on the color wise, but I think it turned out pretty dang cute, and I love all the little baby crabs around it. And of course, just for the bit, I made the inside have a small bit of an interior so that you guys could see at least something while I was in there while the song played. After that, we had Marky Cat, also another mod on the channel, went ahead and recommended doing an e-parsnip, which is some deep lore if you've been on the channel long enough, because I cannot talk, and when I was playing Stardew Valley, you know, I can't talk. So I said an e-parsnip instead of a parsnip, and we came up with this. So we have the emoji in my Discord, and I went ahead and did more pixel art with it, and honestly, it looks really cute. This much blue and pink together. I kind of wish this was like a real fruit we had in Minecraft, because it looks rather interesting. And then finally, we had a recommendation from Chespy. Love Chespy so much. We play on Birds SMP together, but we've been friends for quite a bit, honestly. But Chespy recommended a steampunk boat sailing the seas with the shadow of a creature underneath it. So I went ahead and did some Googling and found this inspiration for a steampunk boat, which should have been an airship, but I decided to take it and make it into an actual boat instead. And honestly, I love the different colors that I got to play with here. You know, the bottom of the boat is all different shades of pink, from pink concrete to cherry stripped logs and pink wool. And then the top we have, of course, acacia lining it, and then a bunch of copper, oxidized copper everywhere, with just, you know, different shades going up to everything. And honestly, I really love this palette. Like, it feels like out of nowhere you wouldn't think to use this, but for being steampunk, I felt like it really worked with the actual theme. And then for the underneath shadow, I don't know if you can see it too well. Kinda you can see it. Just kinda. It's a little difficult with my shaders at least. But I went ahead and went underneath the water, and I did this giant like oval shaped thing of tinted glass so that hopefully no light goes underneath it. And if you really look and it's the right time of day, then you can definitely see the shadow underneath it. But all in all, that's going to do it for this episode of Building Your Ideas. I do want to do this more often, and I probably will. But for right now, that's good for this month. Thank you guys so much for the support all the way back in April. Sorry this took me so long to get out, but at least it's out now. I hope you did enjoy seeing my takes on your ideas, and I'll see you guys all in the next episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that jazz. And until then, bye guys!